Hello, darling, and welcome back to Hearth, Heart, and Ritual. Today is episode 2, and it is called When a Layoff Lingers. First off, let's do our body scan, check in with your body. How are we feeling physically, emotionally, creatively, spiritually? Just pause and just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just body scan. Meet yourself where you're at. How are you doing? I know you can't answer me, but I still want to know on some level. I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing amazing. Let's get caught up a little bit. It's 2026. I didn't get another episode recorded before the end of 2025, which I kind of anticipated, to be honest with you. So let's talk through some stuff, like what I'm currently reading. I just recently finished Eric Malachite's The Echoes of Olympus Mons. 10 out of 10 is the first book I finished for this year, even though I'd read most of it last year. Currently on my reading list is another one of Eric's books, The Man Without Hands. I'm still reading The Witches of New York by Amy McKay, Period Power by Maisie Hill, Blood Infernal by Rebecca Cantrell and James Rollins, The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman, and still listening to The Fellowship of the Ring, narrated by Andy Serkis. I don't listen to audiobooks very often, you guys. I love my podcast, but audiobooks are for when I'm driving on long trips, and I haven't been taking trips lately. But yeah, life updates. What's going on in my life? I have a secret project that some people are aware of. Please don't spill it in the comments of the episode if you know what said secret project is. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw the poll where I was asking you guys for inputs on names for said project. So you're just going to have to wait and be patient. If you already know the details about what's going on with that, I ask you pretty please just keep that to yourself, and then you can gush being like, hey, I was in the inside party when everything finally gets revealed. Okay. Creatively, everything is going well. We're on track to launch the new website before the end of the month, which means I get to leave GoDaddy hosting. I'm very thankful to Talos, who handles all of my tech stuff, that he is hosting my website and all I have to do is pay for my domain. Other good things, Practically Bookish. Hopefully, I'm planning not to launch this episode until January 11th. So our first episode of Practically Bookish is out. So I'm really excited about that. So if you haven't listened to that podcast and you're all for hearing 3 women talk about all the politics in books and how different pieces of the book industry have changed over the years and all that fun stuff, book banning, how supporting Barnes and Noble is so important to keep Amazon from having a monopoly on all the book stuff and yada yada yada, then we're the podcast for you. I'm going to put that little plug here. Magically, I'm just moving along through life. I am really focusing on getting into my daily rituals. I gratefully say thank you to Hillary, and I'm sorry if y'all heard my nail hit the mic arm by accident, but just saying very, very thankful to Hillary with the rebrand and everything. I've started really laying in this season with some goals and mindsets that are happening. I've also this is on my checklist tonight, so I'm recording on January 5th, so anyone who's listening to this, yes, I did record episode 2, like I said I was going to. So, yay there. But I'm really working on focusing on the goals for this year. I want to get my content creation goals set up because this is part of those goals. I want to make sure that I'm setting everything up appropriately so that we can function and start really getting this set in a way that it can be monetized. And I know everyone's like, but Trula, you said you don't want to monetize everything. I said, I want things to pay for themselves. I want the blog to pay for itself. That is my main goal. Anything extra, yes, is a great plus. And we'll also be helping work towards said secret project that is happening. And honestly, I can't wait to tell you guys about the secret project when it's more ready to be coming into fruition. And I'm sorry if you heard Miss Catherine, she is hangry all of a sudden, and she's giving me the look like, how dare you, mother? But on to today's topic, when a layoff lingers. To kind of give some backstory as to why this topic is something that I wanted to discuss, I was laid off in May 2024 after returning from my birthday vacation the week before. There was no way of knowing. I had been part of interview processes for new people. We were supposed to be bringing on the team leading up to this. I was very blessed and lucky enough to land a temp job from June to August, where I was initially offered the job by the boss and then had him essentially say he didn't offer it to me and ripped the rug out from under me in August when I was informed I had 3 weeks before my contract was up. Essentially that the offer had been rescinded. To be clear, I'd stopped looking at that point because I was under the impression that I was going to be there permanently. And so I went into full panic mode of what was going to happen because, mind you, I can survive anything. My main concern is taking care of Catherine because she is my baby. I spent the next 4 months applying to nearly 200 jobs and interviewing with multiple places before I landed in the job I'm currently in. There was one job that loved me, but the pay was too low for what they were wanting me to do. I was offered a position in October after having been told that they had moved on with other quality candidates in September, only to have them revoke the offer after I requested an offer letter with all of the details. My current job had also offered me the position at the same time as the job that rescinded their offer. And I've been here a year, accepted this offer, been here a year. And that sadly doesn't negate the trauma from what had happened over the course of May to November of 2024. It is a trauma. First of all, we're going to talk about that. It is a trauma. Layoffs don't just end when the job does, and it doesn't end when you're employed again. Because unfortunately, our nervous system remembers. We're going to gently explore a little bit of how they leave emotional bruises on us that show up as fear, hypervigilance, shame, grief, or a fractured sense of identity today. So buckle up, buttercups. I love you all. If this is not an episode that you think you can listen to today, it's absolutely fine. You can come back. I want to be very clear that these episodes don't build off one another. They are here to take what you need from them and just enjoy and find camaraderie where you feel that you need to. And that's what I want this to be, is that, we're in one of the biggest horrible job markets since the recession in 2008, you guys. And it's not getting any better. I am constantly seeing, my TikTok feed is filled with people who've been, and my LinkedIn have been, not just my TikTok, my LinkedIn have been filled with people who have been laid off for a year, 2 years, and they've applied to like over 300 jobs and are getting interviews, but they're not getting hired. So it is a pandemic in the workforce, I guess you could say. And so we're going to talk about it. So this is your like, hey, if this is too much, this is my little rambling enough to give you guys time to say, okay, I can't do this today. You can come back. You can listen to this later. So I love you. There's no shame in not being able to listen to this today. It's totally fine. I understand. But with that, let's get into the nitty gritty. Layoffs are a form of emotional trauma. You have a sudden loss of safety, routine, and your identity. You're essentially being told you're no longer needed. And that can screw with anyone's head. I don't care if you are so sound and confident in yourself. I call BS if you say that a layoff wouldn't bother you to the point where you would think that you are not good enough. It's they feel personal even though it's just business, you guys. And especially when they're done and the timing wise can be really hard. Like I said, when I was recapping what I had gone through in 24, I literally was on vacation the week before I was laid off. Not a joke. Had taken off, my birthday was on a Thursday in 24. So I had taken Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off for my birthday. Came in on Monday, logged in, getting settled in to do work, noticed that my out of office was still on for whatever reason, and then I got the HR invite. Being told you're no longer needed when you were hired specifically, especially in my case, I was hired specifically because I had contracting experience. And by contracting experience, I had experience with contracting systems. And I was being taught how to redline agreements, had the intention of I'm going back and getting my paralegal certificate. Like I really wanted to do that. I still kind of do, just to be clear. And then coming back in, having just had a really good performance review earlier that year and earlier just a few months before, having just gotten a raise and basically being told you're no longer needed. Immediately felt like, oh, I'm no longer good enough for you guys. I took it hard. I it's the first layoff I've ever been through, and I took it really hard because I am someone who comes in, I give everything my all, I ask all the questions. Like, if I'm asking for clearer details on something, it's clearly not, it's muddy to me, and I now need more details so that I can do what you need me to do, so on and so forth. And like I said, I had also been part of interviews for people who they were planning on hiring at the time to come onto our team with us. They're always going to feel personal. I don't think there's a way to not make them feel personal, especially it doesn't matter how big of a group you're in of layoffs. You're always going to feel like it's a personal attack because it's like there's no such thing as company loyalty anymore. Back in the day, like being loyal and staying at a company for years on end would at least get you something. And I mean, like, it's it's hard. And I may space out when discussing this because I'm trying to prevent myself from slinking back into that mindset, you guys, because I've been going through it the last few months. I'm fine. I love my job. I'm just going to repeat that again because, like, I know some people will be like, but why are you feeling like that? It's like, it's the season. I get seasonal depression. This time of year really screws with my brain. not just the sun not being out all the time, but also like this time of year is just slow in the industry that I work in and everything. So it's a lot of things at once, and my brain needs a lot of stimulation, you guys, to be able to function. And so if I'm not getting that, it's a problem. Um, but they're always going to feel personal. There's nothing we can do to stop that, I don't think. And like I said, company loyalty isn't rewarded in the ways that it used to be. Like years ago, if you stayed at a company for 10 years, you'd at least, rise through the ranks over those 10 years and gain more company momentum, more experience, and so on and so forth. But in today's society, to be able to get those title jumps, to be able to learn new things, we have to switch jobs every 1 to 3 years. And that's the downside about it, especially if you come in and it's like, oh, well, you've gone above and beyond your first year in the company and you've learned all these new things. I'm not saying that this is something that's happened to me. I've never expected promotions after my first year, but there are in some cases like the industries that you come in that you do a lot of the work and you learn all these new things that your title should reflect, like, oh, you took XYZ on. Okay, let's find a way to like adjust your title to reflect that you handle XYZ and all that stuff. Um, Lingering symptoms that come with this trauma specifically is anxiety around stability. You're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. You're nervous if you have your manager reaching out to you. I've only had it happen once, and my manager was great. She was like, hey, don't freak out. It's about XYZ, because I'd kind of had a little bit of a conversation with her about this. Something that I found that I did when I first started, and I have been trying to curb a lot of that, is overworking and or people pleasing as a survival response to all of this. That the minute you get into a new job, you're after a layoff, you're like, I want to make sure that like they want to keep me, that they understand that this is why they hired me, so on and so forth. Like you want to make them want to keep you forever. That's not how the job market works, you guys. I hate to break it to you if you haven't heard it before. There is no such thing as giving a company everything that they want and then expecting the same level of loyalty back. Um, some companies may be different. Mom and pop stores might be a lot more different. But big corporate America, not the thing. Not the thing. You're just butts in chairs, unfortunately, to some degree. And that sucks. It sucks. It's something that I've just learned over the last, year or so, which is also why boundaries are so important, and we'll get to talking about that later. But another lingering symptom is guilt for resting or spending money. I don't know about y'all. If you've gone through a layoff, you can sound off in the comments and say if you've ever had that feeling, but I have. Um, I got back from a trip I took last December, uh, and came back, and it's like spending money was not even a thought process in my head. I was like, I spent money to make sure Catherine was fed, that I was fed, that we had gas. I had gas in the car. Her Banfield bill was paid every month. Um, just the general consensus of those things. I was not buying things for myself. I did a couple splurges just because birthday splurge. I always get myself something for my birthday. Um, because who else is going to treat me like me? This year's splurge happened to come in uh October or November. I don't know. Whenever the Florence and the Machine tickets launched, that was my splurge for myself for this year, and that's my birthday present to myself because she's playing Nashville on my birthday. Um, but not the point. It's like, you feel guilty for resting or spending money, and that is something that I really had to like work my brain through of I kind of got past that by summer and took a weekend to Atlanta with one of my friends to visit her for the weekend for 4th of July, and that was really great. Like, I didn't spend a ton of money while we were there. I did pick up like a new tarot deck, but it was nice just because I got to see someone that I really care about and spend the weekend with her and her husband and their fur children. God, seeing cricket made everything like so much better. But yeah. And then next on the list that I've got here is difficulty trusting employers or yourself. You may not be able to take your employer word for word of what they're saying. You may not trust them at all. Um, and trust is built both directions. It comes from both sides, and there has to be that olive branch of understanding, like, hey, this did happen. I do have trauma surrounding it, and I'm very grateful that the job that I have now, the team that I'm on, we're really big on helping each other as much as possible, which is great. And it's amazing to have a team that like focuses on that. Like, I was the only one in office on Friday, and I was like grabbing things left and right. Just if I could work it, I was doing it. Like, I'm not gonna make them come back in on Monday to deal with this. So I was working things left and right on Friday, even though it was a very slow day as far as things coming in. I was like, if I can work this, I'm freaking taking care of it. We're gonna ask all the questions. We're gonna get all the answers that we can and get those taken care of. And in the aspect of not trusting yourself is you may not trust yourself to do a good job. You may not trust yourself that you may not trust in the fact that you deserve the job that you're in. And that's okay. I'm here to tell you that having that feeling is okay, but you have to process the trauma. And that is something that I am still working on. It's an ever processing of trauma. It's constant, you guys. And last but not least is feeling behind or damaged compared to others. Sorry if y'all hear little Miss Catherine. She is over here begging for attention for some reason. Not that we say no to Miss Catherine Snuggles. I'm pretty sure she's picking up on Mommy might be a little bit anxious, and she is my little... She's not a service animal, you guys, but let me tell you something. She tries to do deep tissue therapy where she just like lays on top of me. She's barely 10 pounds nowadays because she's been on a weight loss journey. But getting back to what I was saying is feeling behind or damaged compared to others. You may have friends that weren't part of layoffs and they got promotions at their jobs, and you're like, why did it happen to me? And here's the thing is we cannot compare ourselves to each other because everyone is at different chapters in their lives. Like, I can't compare myself to my best friend who is married and owns a house because our roads are different. Our lives are different. Our paths are completely different. And she is in a completely different chapter of her life than I am. Versus me, I'm just content. Yes, I want to own a house one day. It's the dream, but it is what it is. And you can't compare yourself to someone else. It's apples and oranges. While they are both fruits, they are not the same fruits. So you cannot compare them in the essence of, flavor palettes being the same or anything like that. No two people are going to have the same life experience, you guys. It's just how it is. We may have similar experiences, but we experience them at different times. Additionally, to the lingering symptoms, not systems, symptoms, layoffs carry a grief that doesn't necessarily ever really get acknowledged unless you've been through it. And by that I mean it's not like a funeral where you have the wake and people bring you food and they, there's a burial and there's closure to the whole process. There's no casseroles here, you guys. There's no rituals. Unless you want to count job searching after the layoff. And there's really never closure. There's really never closure because you don't know, what was that one thing that could have maybe saved me from the layoff? What is that one thing? You can't ask the what ifs, you guys. And you're not just grieving the loss of that job and that loss of stability. You're grieving a version of yourself that was in that job, especially if you were thriving in that job and you were happy and you were doing all the things. For me, that was my case. I actually had a lot of breathing room with that job financially. I was able to start putting stuff away and be able to afford to invest in better clothing pieces in my closet that I need, such as nice business clothes and all that stuff. Like, I had started that process at that job. So it's hard. It's hard to deal with that. And unfortunately, society really pushes us past that grief. Like, it's not just a, like, guys, I don't even have words for it sometimes. Like, I can't actually wrap my head around the words that I want to say for this, because it's like, we're expected to just move on. That's all. That's all everyone expects of us, is to move on. And then you have friends who are like, well, why don't you settle for the bare minimum? I was, not that there will be a lot of dating tales on this podcast. I'm not Emma. Not that I think Emma would ever listen to my podcast. And if she did, I might cry. But I was dating this dude, seeing this dude, talking to this dude. I guess we could call it a situationship. I don't know what we'd call it. But at the time of the layoff and everything, when I had started like applying, and got the job through my favorite temp agency at the time, he was like, it'll be okay, everything will be fine. And mind you, I'm going to be slightly mad, but based on our financial discussions, I was making at least 20 grand more than he was at the time. And that was my understanding. I could be wrong. It's been a year, you guys. I kind of have banished most of those conversations out of my brain because they were not healthy conversations for me. And a lot of the details around it that really made me upset was that he was like, you need to lower your standards. You need to lower your salary standards. You need to lower your standards. You need to lower your standards. And that is something that I will not compromise on. I will not compromise on my standards. I will not compromise on what I know that I deserve to be paid, especially in a fair wage of having like 7 years of job experience that lends itself to executive administrative assistant jobs. You guys, I'm gonna be honest. It's aggravating to have someone tell you that you should lower your standards, that you should go get a job at McDonald's. And I'm like, they wouldn't hire me even if I wanted the job. And that's what he did not understand, is that most fast food places are not going to hire someone with 7+ years of work experience in the corporate America world, that they're going to hire you because they know that the minute that you get a better job, you're leaving. And that's the downside of things, is that even if I could have gotten a job with them, it would not have been enough to pay for my rent. To be very honest with you, it would not have been enough to pay for my rent. It would not have been enough to pay any of my bills, to take care of Catherine. None of that. And there are things that I won't talk about here on the podcast, but I was very blessed in some actions that happened in my life that I didn't have to worry about finances for the time that I was completely unemployed from mid-August to the end of November. But point being is that it happened. And he was trying to rush me past all of this of, you know, the grief of losing the job, but I was still looking for jobs at the time. I was inputting, I had been interviewing. Um, and it was very aggravating, very aggravating. But moving on for our topics, the biggest thing is reclaiming your worth outside of labor. um, you are not your productivity. Let me say that again. You listening to this podcast right this frickin' second are not the product of your productivity. Your value doesn't begin with employment. It does not end with the end of your employment at a job. It's just how it is. Your value is always there whether or not you are in that job or you have moved on from that job. It's hard to understand that. And I guess part of me also says that the reason that this episode is happening is because I needed to be reminded of this. I've been going through it since like October, end of October, beginning of November, of just the anxiety hitting me because I was like, we're at the 1 year mark. We're at the 1 year mark of being at this job. I had just gotten to the start of my 3rd year when I was laid off earlier that year. Like I'd started in January when I started with the company, and then 4 months and a week later, I'm freaking laid off. So like there is that inner panic that like comes with, okay, we've made it to the year mark. Is everything going to be okay? You're still waiting on that other shoe to drop. And that's okay to be that way. But you've got to remember that your value is not defined by your job. You are not your productivity, and your value did not begin with employment, and it doesn't end without it. Doesn't matter. You have to learn to separate the survival skills from personal flaws. That is what it is. And it is a hard thing to do, you guys. I'm practicing what I preach right now. I really am. Is learning that my skill set is not connected to what I am as a person is a huge thing. It's not just survival skills. It's just skills in general. I will actually say that. Skills in general is not connected to who you are as a person outside of your job. It's not. And that is okay. It's hard to separate those things, and it's okay for it to be hard to separate those things. Shit happens. So, I don't have as many rituals for you guys this go around. I know I gave you like 3 last week. Shadow work journaling is still one that I would totally recommend, but if you're going through a layoff right now, if you're going through all of this process right now, this is one that I think would be great to help you. I've been personally doing something similar to this for myself when I'm feeling like very stressed. But I will light a candle, name my anxieties or whatever is bugging me on a piece of tissue paper, because I live in an apartment. Tissue paper burns kind of more cleanly than normal printer paper will, so it doesn't set off my fire alarms. So I can do that, and I will write down what's bugging me and just put it out into the universe so that it's not lingering in my brain. So the ritual I'm going to give you guys is a release and reframing ritual is what I'm calling it. You light a candle and name either out loud or in writing what the layoff took from you. Then name what it couldn't take. Your creativity, your resilience, your softness, your intuition, everything that makes you you. You write down what it couldn't take from you. light it on fire and let it burn. You can let the candle continue to burn, but when you're done and you want to blow that candle out, when you're doing it, thank the version of yourself who got through it. Be grateful for that version of yourself. Because that version of you that is now on the other side of all of that is so much stronger and is so worth loving. I'm going to say that, you guys. I want you to understand that. The version of you that came out of the other side of that hellfire of a layoff is so worth loving, because that version of you has learned new boundaries, is learning new things about yourself that you didn't know you could do before. And it's a beautiful thing. For me, boundaries are my biggest thing, and I have learned very much to set those in my current job. And not just that, but my bosses reinforce that we don't work overtime. We're not expected to work past our contracted hours. It's not expected of us at all. And I think that is such a beautiful thing to have reinforced. Like, we'll have our team meetings, and that's always part of discussion. And I absolutely just love that we're always reminded you're not expected to work outside your contracted hours. You're not expected to work outside your contracted hours. You are not expected to work outside your contracted hours. Yeah, you could get paid overtime in some cases, but it's not approved, and it's okay to not do it. It really is. With that, I feel like we've been very, very heavy. We're kind of gearing in on, I think, like nearly 40 minutes for the podcast, you guys. So we're going to talk through our closing, reflection, and all that. So great prompts for you guys post layoffs and stuff like that. Kind of very similar. Sorry, you guys. Kind of very similar to our earlier body scanning. Close your eyes, meditate. What parts of the layoff still live in your body? Like, where do you feel it? Where is it feeling? Is it in your chest? Does it feel like a sinking feeling in your chest? Is it an all over body anxiety? Just name it. You can journal this, you guys, by the way. Like, journaling this stuff is really important because you can put pen to paper and get it outside of your body. Another great prompt. What beliefs about safety, money, or worth were shaped by that moment? And what did you learn to do to survive? And do you still need those tools? I also wanted to, I didn't give you guys affirmations before in the last episode, but for this one, I feel like affirmations are such an important thing, and I find them very helpful, so I wanted to give you guys some. Feel free to pause, breathe, place a hand on your chest while you listen to these or while you repeat them to yourself. I am allowed to grieve what I lost, even if others think I should be over it. What happened to me was real, and my feelings make sense. My worth did not disappear with a paycheck or a job title. I am more than the way I learned to survive. Rest is not failure. It is a form of healing. I am allowed to feel safe again, slowly and in my own time. The version of me who lived through that moment deserves tenderness, not judgment. I am still whole, even after loss. I do not need to earn my right to exist or be cared for. I can rebuild trust with the world and with myself at my own pace. I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. Like I said, it's 40 minutes as of recording this. I'm happy that I get to do these things, that I'm able to do these things. And the companion piece for this will be up on Substack, as always. So you can enjoy it as well in tandem with this. And just know all those affirmations are legit. I'm going to actually repeat my favorite one that from that list, which is my worth did not disappear with a paycheck or a job title. It goes back to that same conversation we had earlier in the discussion of not being connected to your productivity, that your value didn't begin with employment and it doesn't end with employment. So, with that, I will see you guys. Well, I will talk to you guys. I gotta quit saying I'll see you guys in the next one because I keep thinking of my YouTube channel, which I owe you guys some book reviews and some other things, which I'm planning on filming. So, anyways, with that, I will talk to you guys next time. Until our next cup of tea. Thank you for sharing this little candlelit moment with me today. If you'd like to keep wandering through this cozy, magical life with me, Hearth, Heart, and Rituals is waiting for you wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to linger a little longer, you can join me over on Substack, where Hearth, Heart, and Rituals continues in written form, with essays, reflections, gentle rituals, and soft thoughts for slow mornings and quiet evenings. For even more everyday magic, you can always visit me at Magnolias and Crystals, the blog, the socials, and all the cozy corners where I share my world a little more deeply. Until our next cup of tea.